functions just so we remember order of operations. And then we're going to talk about graphing them for a little bit. We're not taking a quiz on anything until Tuesday. So we'll do some practice. We've got some homework assignments. I think the homework tonight, 3-1, is just on like this kind of thing. So PEMDAS, right? Parentheses, then exponents always come first. So I'm going to do the first one and the second one, and then you're going to do the example 3 and 4. But I would do the 2 plus 3 first, right? So that would be 5. Then I would do 5 squared second. So that would be 25. Then I would do 5 times 25. So that's 125. I think these are all small enough that you could evaluate them without a calculator. So I wanted to point out on example 2, because there is not a parenthesis, this to me is a tricky problem because you want to say that negative 2 squared is 4. This is really the problem, negative 1 times 2 squared. So the negative is really like a coefficient multiplier. So you're really doing 2 squared first and then multiplying by negative 1. So this is actually negative 4 plus 5, which is 1. So if it's going to take the negative sign and square it, it would have been written like this. So the negative 2 would have been inside of parentheses being squared, and that would give you positive 4. So just be careful when it's just a negative, it says the opposite of 2 squared. This is saying negative 2 itself is what's being squared. So if you could quickly evaluate 3 and 4 without a calculator, and then we'll evaluate using function notation. Just pretty quick, like order of operation things, so that when we start evaluating these functions, we know how to do it. Uh-oh, I never paused this. All right, I'm going. This was 1 times 16, right? Because this is 4 squared. So that one should have been just positive 16. And then this is positive 9 minus 6 is 3. So we did okay on that. And then on these, this is just function notation. We're going to start graphing this. But if you plug in 0, what would you get? And then if you plug in 3, what would you get? So you're only plugging it in for x on the right-hand side. And then down here, you're doing it with the g of x equation. So for example, you would plug in 0. So you'd get 2 to the first minus 3. So 2 minus 3 would be negative 1 for that one. So could you do those other 4 up top? And then we'll use our calculator to do the table of values. The g of 0 one. So I'm plugging in 0. So I'm doing 3 times 1/2 to the 0 power. Anything to the 0 power is equal to 1. So it's really 3 times 1 is 3. Is that what you're asking? This is the g of x, right? So you're plugging it in for this x instead. So then you're going to do negative 2 plugged in over here. And if you forget what the negative exponent does, take a look at that table of powers. Remember, it's a reciprocal type function. Well, let's just go through the rest of these. So if we do f of 3, it'd be 2 to the 4th minus 3. So 2 to the fourth is 16. 2 times 2 times 2 times 2. And then 16 minus 3 is 13. And then this one, 3 times 1/2 to the negative second power. So 1/2 to the negative second is actually the reciprocal of this number, which is 2, squared. So 1/2 to the negative second power is actually the number 4, because it's 2 over 1 squared. And then 3 times 4 would be 12. All right, so then if we were going to do the table of values, I would just use your y equals menu and then just fill these in from the table. I had really done this as like a virtual thing last year, but I didn't want to skip it. So just knowing how to type an exponential function correctly into your y equals menu and get to the table. I think we're pretty strong at that skill this year, but last year we needed some practice.